And welcome to Tales from the Tips. I'm DA. Normally I say alongside 15-year Tour Caddy Mick Middlemo. We're just a couple guys that love to talk about the game of golf, both inside and outside the ropes, but we come at it from a different perspective. But as you can see, Mick's not here. Mick is like the weather. He's fighting a cold, so he's sitting this one out. You've got me, hopefully, for the next 30 minutes. We've got a lot to talk about. Are you ready for this? We've got Scottie Scheffler starts off the season with a W. What does that mean for the rest of the PGA Tour? His historic milestone victory, number 20, earning him a lifetime membership on the tour. We've got our buddy and our friend of the podcast, Stuart Sink, picking up where he left off last season with a big W in Hawaii. We'll talk about that. Brooks is back and teeing it up at the Farmers Insurance Open out at Torrey Pines. We'll see how he did as we are recording on the first night of the tournament. Patrick Reed wins in Dubai and then drops a bomb. He is no longer with LIV and he wants to return. The pathway is back. We'll talk about that. And Nelly Korda sounds off on TGL with a major miss. So with all that, let's grip it and rip it. Okay, let's get into the Amex recap. Last week, Mick had his picks. I had my picks. Mick came out on top with his having Patrick Cantlay finishing T13. I had Ludwig Åberg withdrew due to a cold illness. He's teeing it up here at Torrey Pines this week. But Scotty number one in the world, wins for the 20th time on the PGA Tour, making it him the second fastest player to reach that mark, only behind, yep, you guessed it, Tiger Woods. He dominated in the desert, finished a cool 27 under par, and won by a comfortable 4 strokes, at one point leading by 6 with a costly double bogey there. But this earned Scotty a lifetime membership on the PGA Tour. Big news out of the weekend, though. Blades Brown, the 18-year-old amateur sensation, shot nearly a 59 the other day. Ended up finishing 60 in the second round. Entered Sunday just one shot off the lead. Ended up finishing T18. Kind of ran out of gas, but Blades Brown is ready. He looks to be the real deal. But it was a very competitive tournament. Amex always seems to bring out the best. We had a big group that finished at T for second. Jason Day, J Day playing some really good golf, both today out at Torrey Pines. As a matter of fact, final round is in for him. Shoots a 5 under par today out on the North Course out at Torrey Pines. He was also tied with Andrew Putnam, Ryan Gerard, and rookie Matt McCarty. I would tell you guys, Jason Day is back. I think he is set to have a really good season this year. Mick's pick for this week at the Farmers is Jason Day. So just to give you guys a little preview of what his pick is. Lots of birdies, though. Really, if you make a bogey, you're going backwards in a big way. You make a par, you're going backwards out there. Conditions were ideal and perfect. The cut line for this event was 13 under, just to give you an idea on how low these guys were going. Ludwig and Nick Dunlap had to withdraw. Ludwig would have made the cut, which really cost me some good FedEx points that I would have earned. But hopefully Ludwig's back and feeling better this week. So as we turn our attention to, obviously to the Farmers Insurance, Torrey Pines, both the North and South Course. North Course always gives up a lot of birdies. South Course always the tougher of the two. guys will go out on both the North and the South Thursday and Friday, and then finish out on the South Saturday and Sunday. The big news out of this weekend, not a very strong field, but you do get to see some guys. Max Homa, Xander Schauffele, Justin Rose is back out there this week. Obviously Scottie not out there this week, Rory not out there this week, but the return of Brooks Koepka to the PGA Tour. Big day today. He ended up shooting one over, finally made a birdie on the 18th hole. He was shut out all the way up until 18. My pick for this tournament, Harris English, last year's reigning champ, also shot one over. Max Homa had a tough day, +3. Ludwig Oberg probably still feeling the effects from the illness, +6. Your leader, though, in the clubhouse on day one, Justin Rose, -10. I'm surprised Mick didn't go with Jay Rose for this one, but I know he wants to ride the hot hand of the Aussie with Jason Day. Xander back home, the San Diego native, obviously big favorite in the betting markets. We'll see what Max has. Obviously, the last time Max teed it up overseas in Tokyo, he won. So again, taking a look just to see where he finished up, I'm going to have to scroll a little bit. Christian Bezuidenhoek, Chris Gotterup out there this week. You've got Cam Davis teeing it up this week. I'm not seeing Xander. I'll have to scroll through and see where Xander is. I think unlike what we saw last week, birdies are going to be a premium. Driving accuracy is a premium out at the Farmers, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to Mick about. You have to drive the golf ball really well out at Torrey Pines. The very narrow fairways. They do have a single primary cut of rough, and then obviously you get into the thick stuff. But it's those narrow hosels right up to the greens, the undulation off the greens, those POA Annua greens that are always tough and a little bit tricky anyway. But they have the perfect weather, 70 degrees out there. The course looks absolutely lush. Grounds crew has done an amazing job, and you get that nice ocean breeze there to keep the turf cool. Perfect weather for growing turf out there. Interesting thing, a little unique for this week with Koepka's return, because they're not taking away spots. Our normal 145 field was expanded to 147. Max Brooks got to play with Max Homa and Ludwig today, probably helping or hurting why that group was a total of 10 over par today. But I think you'll see those guys bounce back tomorrow. They all played the South course. I think you'll see those guys back next week or after tomorrow for that. So right now, Mick leads in the overall rate standings after a couple of weeks. He's got 42 points. I've got 13. And it's one of those things. It's a long race, but I can't let Mick get too far ahead of me on that.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites.
I said it last week during the podcast. I was not going to talk about LIV. We've done a lot of LIV talk. There is a place for LIV golf out there. But they gave me every reason to talk about LIV golf this week. Patrick Reed wins at the Hero Dubai Classic on Sunday, and then Patrick Reed officially announces his departure from LIV and his intention to return to the PGA Tour. You can feel one way or the other about Patrick Reed. There's a lot of history with Patrick Reed. He is obviously from, as an American, love watching Patrick Reed play on our team events, whether it be the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup. He is the real Captain America. But, there's also the backside. There's the side that we've all talked about, his failed lawsuits against former other media members out there. I really don't want to get too deep into that. For me, the way I look at it, Patrick Reed is a very, very good player. He is going to bring a lot of good competitiveness back to the PGA Tour. It is one of the things we talked about. He has been competitive in majors. Obviously, he's competing out on the DP World Tour and winning, currently sitting number 2 on the DP World Tour. So there's a couple things, in place now with Reed's path back to the tour. I give him a lot of credit and his staff his team a lot of credit. Patrick Reed was very smart by resigning his membership prior as he left for LIV instead of waiting for the commissioner then of the PGA Tour, Jay Monahan, to issue a suspension. This is helping him get back on tour a lot quicker. He's able to compete as a non-member via sponsors exemptions after August 25th of 2026 of this year. So he will be eligible for the President's Cup. He's got a couple of things. Full membership. He can get plans to reinstate for full membership in 2027. As a past member, he has that ability. There's a few things that will keep him back on that. But he also, as he sits number 2 on the race to the cut, he can also secure one of the 10 PGA Tour cards given to DP World Tour who finished, and that will improve his 2020 status. That'll give him more access into events. Obviously, he will have to play really well in the fall series to get into the Aon Next 10. That way, getting him a chance to play in some of the key signature events to start out 2027. Love him or hate him, this is just going to be good for the PGA Tour. He is an aggressive, gritty player. If you ever watch Patrick Reed, never count that guy out. He plays all across the world. So guys across all the tours know him. I think this is nothing but good news for the PGA Tour. Again, this says a lot about what's happening on LIV. I found it a little bit ironic that one of the reasons that that they've been given, Brooks gave and Patrick is given is being able to be back and spend more time with the family. Originally, if you guys remember, when players were announcing that they were heading over to LIV, it was to obviously they made a lot more money, but also to play less events and spend time with more time with family. I think they finally realized that the amount of travel and the schedule that these guys are having to put in, flying all across the globe, and truly, there are things about LIV that I do like. Growing the game of golf and taking it to all the parts of the world is something that we all should be doing. Mick and I have stated this several times on the podcast. We have to be doing a better job as ambassadors, but also as players, to get out and play more golf and all across the world and take it to more places, because that will only grow the game and get more kids and more young adults involved in the game of golf, and it will carry on its traditions, further down the line. Current status, he'll put he's out there competing. I know had a rough day out there today, but I will recommend. I would guess that I'll guess that Patrick Reed is going to bounce back really well. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes top 10 now that he's going to be able to focus solely on DP World Tour events during this major part of the year, and he will be at the majors. So just keep an eye on him as he gains more world ranking points. That's the other key to this. More tour events that he plays on the DP World Tour, the top 10 finishes that he's been having, he's going to gain world ranking points faster. That's going to qualify him for more of the majors. And eventually, obviously, he'll status on the PGA Tour next year, as a past member, past champion, and then obviously he could finish top 10. Also, seeking reinstatement, this announced this week as well. Kevin Na. We have talked about Pat Perez and also Hudson Swafford. Now, Kevin Na and Hudson Swafford, for me, there's a couple things. And we've talked about this. I don't have Mick here to argue with me or go back and forth on this, but and we'll talk probably next week on the podcast. But these are the guys to me, just like some of these younger guys that are leaving right now to go over to LIV to take the money. You left to take the money. You weren't interested in playing high competitive golf. These are the guys I'm having a harder time wanting to just allow back on a single track back in. I think these are the guys that, you know what, you've got to go cut your teeth back out on the Korn Ferry Tour. You've got to go qualify for the Korn Ferry Tour. You've got to be out on the DP World Tour. You can go play the Asian Tour or the South American Tour. You have to earn your way back. You left to take the money. You left to take the easy road. And while I don't blame you, anyone in any industry that could get offered somewhere up to 5 to 10 times what they were going to be guaranteed to make, you would be a crazy man to say, no, I'm not going to take it unless you really could see the forest through the trees. These guys took the money, left to go play a very, recreational league. And that, let's call LIV what it is. It is a glorified golf league. And that's not being disrespectful to the guys that are out there, but when you have no open paths, now obviously this year they had to make some changes, and I give the new CEO Scott a lot of credit for making the changes that they've had to make. 72 holes. They now have a pathway in to LIV instead of just opening up the wallet and just invite the country club style in to try to get themselves some world ranking points. Again, I think the writing is on the wall. There is so much travel that has to go into this. I don't see this thing continuing on. I know Mick and I talked about it a couple weeks ago. Within the next 5 years, I do not see LIV Golf being around. With that being said, I also see that guys like Kevin Na and Hudson Swafford and some of the other guys that have left or have been relegated out, you've got to go earn your way back in. I understand, we've got the reinstatement program for past champions. Obviously, that was very specific for John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Cam Smith, and Brooks. But I'm going to say it this way: you've got to make this tough and be penal for these guys to come back to the PGA Tour. They cannot just take the money and go and get a little slap on the wrist and come back. $5 million for Brooks Koepka. I've heard a lot of different people say, well, it's not enough. That is the largest check any professional athlete has ever had to write for a fine. It is at least going to a charity. And I heard somebody make a comment today, oh, well, he gets the 501. Really? The 501c3 write-off? Forget that. He gets a tax deduction. He also lives in a tax-free state tax. So give me a break on tax breaks. I don't really want to hear about that. Just like I don't want to hear about scarcity and that the PGA Tour is now a for-profit entity, and listening to millionaires and billionaires cry that it's too expensive to host a tournament in Hawaii is ludicrous. It's sickening to me. The PGA Tour is always about giving back to the communities in which they host the tournaments. They've left a lot of small communities behind as this tour has grown. I'd love to find ways to give back to those communities that helped build the tour. Those are the things that Mick and I were talking about after we got off the podcast last week. What is it like? What can we do to get Greenbrier back? Maybe Warwick Hills isn't back on the PGA Tour, but maybe there are some events. I know the Champions Tour is back up there with the Champions Tour, and Stewart is Stewart Cink, the defending champ. But what are some of the things that we can do to give back to those communities that really helped start the PGA Tour? Those are the things. Like, let's get more strategic. Let's get more. Let's use some more of the contract negotiations that you've done to tell Sony that after all these years, after 60 plus years in Hawaii, it's just too expensive because now we're a for-profit. Guys, you're going to have a hard time selling me on a bunch of millionaires and billionaires crying that they're not making enough money. Okay, and I get TV ratings against the NFL. Well, guess what? You're going to have to go against it. The NFL isn't going to go backwards. They're going to add another game. They're going to decrease. Again, the NFL is smart. They're decreasing the number of preseason games. They've seen what teams have done. Most teams don't even play most of their starters during the preseason. So now you're having premium pricing for preseason games when key guys aren't even going to play. You're going to see an 18-game schedule, and that's going to push the schedule back later into January, therefore pushing the Super Bowl probably going to end the same time as President's Weekend so that everybody can have their Super Bowl parties on a Sunday, have President's Day off the next day here in the States, and enjoy. So, guys, give me a break on some of that. Last thing that I have before I say goodbye is Nelly Korda. Nelly Korda sounded off this past week on TGL. And she's not wrong, guys. This was a big miss. I am all for women's golf. You guys have heard me talk about it multiple times. You know, I'm a dad of 3 girls. I have a competitive swimmer. I've got another one that has swam competitively for most of her high school career. I've got a high-ranking ballet dancer who is as competitive as the day is long. You had an opportunity to pair men and women in the same venue, making the same kind of money and showcasing their talents 1v1 and team versus team, and you blew it. Now, I'm all for TGL, the WTGL. But this goes back to what Mick and I have talked about repeatedly about the LPGA and what the LPGA Tour has continued to do and has failed to do. And that is to find ways to promote their players. Repeatedly, you never hear the top players on shows. Yeah, I was listening to Taylor Zarzour in The Starter this morning, and Taylor's spot on. One of the guys that cares more about the game of golf than anyone I've ever seen, probably one of the hardest working guys in sports and sports media that's out there. When was the last time you heard Nelly Korda jump on with the Paulsons or with Gravy and the Sleaze? When was the last time you heard Charlie Hull jump on a radio show or do any promotion or jump on TV on the Golf Channel? You don't. And it's because the LPGA Tour does a very poor job of marketing their folks, but also a very good job of hiding their folks. And this is one of those things they found a way to, quote unquote, help promote the game, but at the same time miss big on that. And so I don't disagree with what Nelly said. And here's was her quote. When Korda was asked, this was an interview that I want to make sure I quote the right folks. Kevin Cunningham from Golf wrote this article. When asked about it, Korda characterized the decision to create WTGL rather than adding LPGA pros to an existing TGL. And I quote, "Huge and unbelievable miss. I have mixed feelings on it, and if I'm being very honest, I'm surprised no other girls have or no one's really spoken out about it," Korda told Nichols this week. "I think this is a huge and unbelievable miss that we're not playing alongside the men." If she had continued to argue that men and women have competing together would have been revolutionary, and there's no greater way to grow the game. You know what? 100% correct. Nelly, thank you for finally speaking up. I want to see more of this. She's starting to get more active on social media. That's a great sign. I think it's going to take players like Charlie Hull and Nelly Korda and all the top stars of the LPGA Tour to start lifting their voices up and speaking back out against the tour. Because guess what? The tour has nothing without them. The LPGA Tour is nothing. The men's tour, you've got young kids coming up left, right, and center. LPGA Tour needs young women to start playing golf. We talk about, our good friends from Lacima Restaurant Group, James's daughter, Nina, getting ready to go play at App State. You see Kai Trump getting ready to go play for the University of Miami. These are the things that we need to see, and that's the group, the next generation of women golfers that are going to need to be very active on social media. They're going to need to have their YouTube channels. I think Bryson still is doing a phenomenal job. I think one to his detriment, actually, on this side, it's keeping him from being able to come back to the PGA Tour. But at the same time, use the channels and the power of social media to help grow the game. I give a ton of credit to the girls at Golf Girls, podcast. They do a phenomenal job of putting out really good content. You continue to be more impressed by more of the women on the social media side than any of the guys. We're in an interesting time in golf. We keep hearing about money, but at the same time, we're missing out on opportunities to grow the game in easy opportunities. So hopefully the folks from TGL and WTGL get together and say, you know what? We still have plenty of time to get this thing figured out. We still have a lot of time to find ways to incorporate women and men together and play this league and really showcase the talents both have. So, well, guys, I appreciate you guys spending the last 30 minutes with me. For those all across the United States suffering from this cold weather, stay warm out there. Keep those hitting bays warm. Your golf sims up and active. Keep your, as Mick will always say, keep your clubs inside. It's cold out there. But if you have a chance to get out and play, like we always say, we thank you for teeing it up with us on Tales from the Tips. If you're catching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a like, hit that subscribe button, drop us a comment, let us know how we're doing. Let me know how I did, and if you agree or you disagree on some of the things I shared with you guys tonight. You can find every episode of Tales from the Tips wherever you find your favorite podcast: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and of course, now you can find it on iHeart. The iHeart app. Just search under Tales from the Tips under podcast. Hit the plus button, hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and we would appreciate it. We are always on the socials, Instagram, X, and Mick's favorite, TikTok. That's right. Mick is a big TikToker. Just, if he can ever figure out how to turn it on his phone. You can watch Mick and I live on the Twitch. I'm seeing all those folks out there tonight. Good to see you guys tonight joining us on a Thursday evening here at the end of January. And, of course, you can catch all of our content on YouTube, our shorts, and our new episodes as they drop. Guys, stay warm out there. Keep your drive straight, your putt short, and your scores low. We'll see you next time as we tee it up on Tales from the Tips. I know from Mick. Feel better, buddy. We'll talk to you next time.